A bird just told me that it's raining outside. That bird were my eyes. But I want you to imagine the following scenario. Imagine my TED Talk goes really well. You exit this event venue, you're walking towards your car, and suddenly a lightning strikes you, and you fall down dead. Now, you're gonna go to sleep for a really long time, maybe a millennium, maybe a few tens of thousands of years. But in my humble, modest scientific opinion, you're going to wake up again. And when you wake up, it's going to be in a futuristic, utopian, science fiction-y society. And people are going to look at you again. And you're going to ask yourself, so first, the cultural shock. We don't just resurrect people like that. That isn't fair. And second of all, how did this happen? Well, let me explain. Take, for example, a line segment, just a line, general line. You can write it on a whiteboard. You can point with a laser pointer, which I don't have. And it's going to be just a general line. If I take this same line and I make a perfect copy somewhere else, to me, it'll be a different line. It'll be a different instance of a line, because I've drawn both of them. But to someone who has never seen any of the lines before, it's going to be completely different. Because lines are really just bundles of characteristics. They're a concept. Just like you, specifically, are a bundle of characteristics, ergo, a concept. You that is standing here in this auditorium right now listening to me ramble on about mathematics, you're an instance of a concept. And you're in luck, because since you're the only instance of this concept in the entire universe, this concept lives and dies with you. Well, it doesn't die, but it lives with you. And whatever you do, you change it. This concept is a culmination of everything that has ever happened, everything that you have ever done, everything that you have ever achieved. However, as easy as it can be changed for the better, it can also be changed for the worse. Because each and every one of us has a demon or multiple demons inside of us. Hi, I'm Valerie. Some of you may know me by another name, but now you don't, because I am the only instance of this concept, and this concept changes with me. For a large majority of my life, I lived repressing my demons. I thought of them as something that just happens. I didn't really think of them. And then at some point, once I joined ACS, something clicked. And I started recognizing these demons. I started hating them, identifying them as diseases that should be isolated and eradicated. And that led me into a spiral of self-hatred, because these demons, they are a part of me. These demons which live in all of us are us. Because once we hate our demons, we hate ourselves. Something we shouldn't do. Now, this opened Pandora's box. I started asking myself, what if people didn't coax me into feeling bad about myself, into being insecure? What if I was born as I should have been and I wasn't transgender? Which, by the way, is not a demon, but it is a feeding grounds for demons, which will just pester me and try to make me suffer. And all the talk about being ordinary, normal, average. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you think you're average? An average human being? That's a good portion. How many of you, old or new people who have risen their hands, how many of you think that being average is something to be feared of? Are you afraid of being average? Raise your hand. Yes, a large portion of people. Now, lower your hands. If you have a single extracurricular activity, or if you're not a student anymore, just an activity you do as a hobby, if you have a single one of them, at least raise your hand. Keep your hands raised. If you have 2 or less, lower your hand. 3 or less, lower your hand. I want to remind you, this includes anything seasonal, such as going swimming in the summer, helping a kindergarten every spring, etc. 4 or less, lower your hands. 5 or less, lower your hands. 6, 7. Now, this is a good portion of people. And according to many admissions officers, I was quite frankly shocked to hear this, 5 or 6 ECAs, extracurricular activities, are an amazing application, an amazing college application, and people who are not students anymore, it's probably even more amazing for them that they have the time to do so. So we are not as average as we may seem, because demons are really just something that poisons us. They are us trying to poison ourselves. They're errors of reasoning. Some of them are insecurities, all types of insecurities, or inferiority complex, or superiority complex. They come in all shapes and sizes. And we can battle them, actually. Now, a banal saying would be, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. A scientific saying would be, you give less energy to a black hole than you take back from it. And we can reach a compromise and say, how to cheat your demons. Now, a prerequisite, a preamble. You don't have to be the best. It's totally not necessary. You don't have to feel bad about not being the best. You don't have to feel bad about feeling bad. You don't have to feel bad about feeling bad about feeling bad about feeling bad, and so forth, and so on and so forth. But what you should do is change your internal monologue. As a dear expert futurologist once told me, your internal monologue is really how you tell your life story. Your life is your story. You're the narrator. You are the dungeon master, if you've played D&D before. You are the one who tells how this story should go, and not your demons. Your demons are just guests. Your demons are just those annoying guests that it gets really late at night and you got a work day tomorrow and you try to tell them it's getting really late, we gotta put the kids to sleep, we gotta refresh ourselves for tomorrow, and then they just don't leave. Well, these demons can actually be cheated, as it turns out, in something that we can call the 10 dual commandments. What? We don't have the rights to, okay, not the 10 dual commandments. Let's just call it a plan of action. You are the lieutenant tactician of the battlefield against your demons. First, you're going to identify your demon. Like, for example, you've seen someone sing on stage, and you really want to sing like them, but this person can like really sing like Madonna or Beyonce, and you feel really bad that you can't sing. Well, that's your demon. You've got him by the collar. Don't release your demon. You know what to fight against now. You know who your enemy is. It's yourself. Next, what you want to do is you want to identify what will make you feel better. For example, learning how to sing. Maybe at this point you find out that it's a misplaced desire to just be out on stage instead of singing. That is okay too. You just need to find out what you want to do and what will help you feel better about yourself. Then you're going to establish a support network. Friends, family, relatives. I mean, relatives are family. And you just really want a strong network because you don't have the luxury of seeing change in yourself. That's why you poison yourself. But your friends, they can notice this change in you. However, don't listen to your friends too much. I mean, take their advice to heart, but like not too much because you know yourselves best. No one knows you as well as you do. Then you're going to want to practice. Start practicing. At first, it's going to be really bad. You're going to sing like off-key. It'll be like you're singing with an open window and the dogs in the neighborhood start barking. You just keep on practicing. Next step, keep a gratitude journal. Also advised to me by an expert futurologist. I can only claim to be an amateur futurologist after all. This gratitude journal, you're going to write what you've achieved, what you have done, what progress you've made. Because every time a demon knocks on your door like a vampire, except not wanting sugar, but is wanting to snack on your self-confidence, you're going to show your gratitude journal. You're going to proudly point at it and say, I've done something. I am not useless. I have made myself a better version of myself. And then you're going to keep practicing. Now you've gained traction. You can keep doing it. Your demon will be less and less effective. You gain more and more arsenal against this pestering demon. And at some point, you're going to analyze what you've done and realize that you've developed a new skill. You've gotten better. And you look the demon in the eyes and you take out your tiniest violin, the tiniest violin in your possession, you start singing a sad serenade, because this demon can no longer pester you. The only thing it has to show for all the suffering it has brought you is a cringy audio clip of you singing a few hours into your journey, which will never be seen again. Now, I'm not taking this out of thin air. This is how I learned to play the guitar. Well, it is an overstatement. I don't know, you'll be the judge of it. Somewhere in 8th grade, I bought a guitar. I played a few notes, it sounded really bad, and I put it off. I just became bored. I became demotivated because the thrill of buying something new kind of wore off. You know what I'm talking about. And then somewhere in 9th grade, I saw a friend of mine. They were playing guitar at a concert, and it was really good. And I felt really bad about myself because I couldn't play the guitar. I couldn't play any instruments. And so, in a particularly boring English class, I'm sorry, EOL teachers, I took my guitar, I took it out of the frame of the camera so the teacher couldn't see me, and I strummed a few chords. And it sounded horrible. I mean, that is natural, because at first you're not going to succeed. But I did something. My demon was pestering me. You're never going to become a guitarist. You're never going to learn anything. And then I strummed a few chords, and that is better than nothing. So I kept doing it. I played the guitar, not noticing much improvement, just like moderate improvement, until one day I was playing in front of my friends, and they didn't instinctively try to walk away from me. And they were listening to me playing. And when I finished playing, they told me, wow, you're a really good guitarist. And I just looked at them like, no, I'm not. And that's when I realized I didn't notice this change in me. I didn't notice because I don't have the luxury of noticing such things. But my friends did. And that's why it's so important to have their insight, because they're going to notice your progress in your battle against your inner demon. And now, when I first played the guitar, I never would have guessed that I would become a decent guitarist now. And in about a week, I'm going to be playing with a band at the Arts Fest. So I've achieved something. My demon wouldn't believe me. Now I just point at it. I heckle at my demon as the demon heckled at me. And I just don't give it much thought. I keep practicing, keep bettering myself. So one day, when I feel really bad and this demon tries to take advantage of these circumstances, I'm not going to give it any leverage to work with. And this is an advice that you, in my opinion, should take to heart. You need to better yourself. You need to make this a habit. You need to take what makes you suffer, what makes you feel bad, and exploit it. You need to exploit it. You're playing cards in a casino with your demons. And you're counting the cards. I mean, you can count the cards. And that's cheating, right? Well, it's your casino. Your mind is your casino. No one can kick you out. You are the host. I mean, the house always wins, right? And so you keep doing this. As a habit, habitually, you keep developing new skills. You're turning the seeds of doubt into a tree of skill. And your demons are going to disappear one by one. Because once it's lights out for you on this earth, on this godforsaken earth, at some point, in my opinion, in the future, someone will create a carbon copy of you, someone that is identical. And you're going to be alive once again. You're going to be the embodiment of the concept of you once again. And you're going to want to live it through. Because you are a concept. You are solely responsible for developing yourself. And you are solely responsible for a textbook definition of that concept. Thank you.